Did Lexie Hall just get the ultimate revenge on Kayla McBride this time around? Last time these two shared the court, McBride's elbow smashed Hall in the face, and the refs somehow penalized Hall. But in the Fever's massive win against Minnesota, Hall answered back, and it left the crowd stunned. This wasn't just highlight reel material. It was personal redemption and proof of Indiana's grit. Want to know what this moment was and how this symbolizes the Fever's late-season surge and playoff push? Let's show some love for Lexie down in the comments below. Let's go! Final score, Fever 83, Lynx 72. Indiana ends the regular season with an exclamation point. Fever have won 3 in a row as they enter the playoff. How does a team actually survive when nearly half its rotation disappears? The Indiana Fever had to answer that the hard way. Game after game, players dropped to the injury report. Caitlin Clark gone with a groin injury. Sophie Cunningham sidelined by an MCL tear. Sydney Carlson tore her ACL. Chloe Wise knee wouldn't hold up. Ari McDonald fractured her foot. That list alone could make up a strong starting group. Yet, all of them were suddenly stuck in street clothes. When you stack those absences together, you're left staring at one of the thinnest rosters in the league. And no amount of preseason planning could have helped Indiana prepare for that kind of collapse. I know a lot of people would talk about Noisa not playing, but I think they're really good with or without her. You know, they're just a really great basketball team. So, I think it was a big win for us, because they set the bar high standard-wise. We know what. We know what to expect when it comes to Minnesota Lynx. And so I think going into the playoffs, it was big for us because, being able to guarding Courtney Williams, knowing that her thing is a pull-up, knowing that now instead of not knowing that, it's big for us because we get give ourselves a chance, and if they're the standard, we get to see where we are. Then the announcement dropped. Caitlin Clark's season was officially over. The groin injury, first labeled as nagging, had taken a permanent spot on the medical sheet. This was supposed to be her rookie campaign that helped fast-track the Fever into national relevance. Instead, it ended in a press release, not a playoff debut. That kind of news can crush the spirit of a team, especially one already leaning on her energy to push them through hard stretches. Emotionally, it pulled at not only the roster, but the fan base watching from Indiana to Iowa. Clark wasn't just a ticket seller. She was the heartbeat of the season, and losing her was the clearest sign, yet that the Fever's playoff ambitions could vanish just as quickly. Yeah, one of the things that I've been impressed with these guys, since even the offseason, really the ones that I was able to work out within the offseason, is how hard they work. It's there's a work ethic, and there's a work style, and then to approach everything in the same way, to be so energetic, enthusiastic, and dedicated every day. And I felt that way in training camp, too. There weren't any days where I had to bring that out of them. So I think it's the nature of the women that we brought into this organization, to continue to just bust their butts and play hard. But while Clark cheered from the bench, someone else had to step into the void. That someone was Kelsey Mitchell. She didn't just score a little more. She became the centerpiece. She turned into the franchise's most productive scorer ever, surpassing even Tamika catching single-season numbers. For reference, she averaged more than 20 points per game across the season. 20 every night, while carrying the ball-handling duties while defenses doubled her, while scout reports screamed her name at the top. Mitchell provided the offensive punch that kept the Fever's hopes alive when they should have flatlined. Kind of all the other things like offensive rebounding that she can do. Knocked away, Boston comes up with a steer. Here is Mitchell veering through the paint and lays it in. She's so quick, and especially when she gets out in the open floor. You'll see her coming down. The quick left to right crossover just gets by. I thought she was sprinting. I didn't think she was lumbering. Stand up for the big girl. Mitchell like a blur. That's a Boston handled the other side of that responsibility. Scoring a steady 15 a night while pulling down more than 8 rebounds over her last 10 games doesn't just show effort. It shows reliability. In a season choked by absences, she gave Indiana its anchor. Her ability to body bigger forwards, clear the glass, and keep possessions alive became the team's insurance policy. Whatever mess the lineups turned into, Boston was the stabilizer in the middle. She set a new team record for single-season rebounds. And you cannot underestimate how that steadiness kept the Fever's defense from fully collapsing. Only 8 teams have ever done that. 7 of them went on to win the title as Boston gets free and lays it in. She will be on my first team. Boston in the paint. Sneaks through 2 and lays it in. So ask yourself, after all that, could this team really still think about a playoff berth? By any logic, the answer should have been no. Yet that's not where the story stopped. Instead of folding, they turned every setback into motivation. The frustration, the constant roster changes, the referees, it all became fuel. Players who were supposed to be role fillers became nightly contributors. Hardship signings put up double-digit performances. Bench players claimed bigger minutes with pride. Dub with the MVP. Okay. Bow. 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 Hell yeah. All right. You already know what it is. Dubs in the chat. You already know what it is. You already know what it is. Let's go to the playoff with some momentum, baby. The turning point was clear. The Fever stopped seeing the injuries as a death sentence and started treating them as a rallying cry. That shift in perspective changed the way they played, and it reshaped the way fans viewed them. By the time the Minnesota Lynx came into the picture, the circumstances weren't the headline anymore. What mattered was their resilience and how it set the stage for one of the most emotional wins of the season. Why did this win over Minnesota feel like more than just another game? Because it was. Indiana wasn't just finishing out the calendar. They were staring down a team that sat at the top of the standings and had been considered the gold standard of the league all year. This wasn't about pride. It was about survival in the playoff picture. And the Fever didn't blink. They came into the night already locked into the postseason, but with the chance to climb, win, and depending on results elsewhere, the 6th seed was in play. That may not sound like much to a casual fan, but the difference matters. A higher seed means slightly more favorable matchups, a real chance to make noise, and proof you belong at the grown-ups table in the playoffs.